Runners, Edmund, Hasek, Germel. Let's have a moment, let's talking and discussing certain things. As you wanted to tell you, here gives everything the same. People were murdered, others are persecuted, others kidnapped, sorry. And the reality of what it is, that still makes it rape and murder, and the abominations to make it so peoples around and peoples that reaches for the making disasters and starts to delivering like help animals, telling that that will be strategy for the teaching life lessons, telling that they will kill anybody which will raise against them patriot, and then patriot is this seek the generation. Suddenly the reality of the soul are happening so much other things, and we accomplished with a spirit and the reality of justice, corroborated and examined, the reality for no innocent will die. Sorry. Hearing for the day, we proceeded about making the chap were done. Now, pogrebis verreishes mitigal gaat at semoplevin reishofes matlevin. Elagiro CHRONOLOGIES plabassa CITO-ECHEAMEZIA the reality is kept on making the same, kept on seeing the same, and the same na elohmitzim and evangelicals in the same conscience persisted in I will still in them, with them Sodoma y Gomorrah, them bodies, that I will still in them the cell phone I'm using, the cell phone that my sister Gloria gave me, that I didn't plug no more with the Movistar line that were sold with a plan, with a service, that my sister Gloria is still paying. And I wish I can do something with that, and I wish to keep this device with no lining, no connection to the preserve, as this has inside as we were using for whatever eventual. But I don't know how am I going to do. I have a service that she is paying, and I'm not using that I could using really perfectly, and it's really awesome and greater at the reality for what it is, update, and what it is DIC, and the whole which is uploading for the 4G. It's a very awesome speed, what I can take 1 hour, any around, with for about 12 minutes. 3 gigabytes are really uploaded already. It's amazing. But okay, let's make this, and let's talk about the situations. Everything proceeds, and there are others which keeps on applauding and supporting the whole inventions and the whole situations and instructions, keeps on making the spy and the showing up. Whatever I do whenever I come to the bathroom, and saying that I will scratch my bed as the clear fact of what it will be, that I will be permanently served at the fathers to be in me. I keep with certain clinics, and I'm going to keep on therapy, making what therapeutically I need. Now the reality is other. At the clear fact of that, supposedly my friends will be the same, because if I will be so much F word, they said, but the whole male, and I will have been too much put it. Reason why that will really eat in. And one thing is that I know this perros degenerados terres. At the clear fact of what this means, an infectious state for fungi and for DITMC, that this all are contacted and are disgusting, but raping. People also with edematose has the symptomatics of a very purulent infectious while rape. The reality of being permanently putted like this, degeneradas y degenerados, just to saying, ain't not causing no itching, but a lot of pain. Reason why also the fear and understanding they are gonna kill them. Screams out loud and leaves some punching them heads up and destroying them and killing them to silence whenever it's known. This is Argentina and what Argentina applauses, except for the victims. Bravo, de generación enferma. Like I said, the Belarus country which keeps on making the same old and no one ever stops. So, the land of the Belarus, with the pardon of the victims, is exactly what provides sickness and abominations. Everyone kept on the same and making up causes and telling that they should ever just watching for my person and worried about my health and worried about my concern on the reality that they should ever watch how my state and to giving me somehow treatments on psychology and psycho-emotional right away at the emergency because of no one could tolerate after so much, but this is a monstrosity. The whole we're suffering. We are worried. He can make a disaster. I'm going to make a disaster and then cut them heads. And keeps on making the same. Naturally, criminals and the generates, all intentional and knowing. No one places and no one will stop. Now, neither the degeneración, tierra bruja de Sodoma y Gomorra, no one ever stopped and won't, and neither tierra prostituta bruja, Evangelistas Unidos, less. This says they are gonna persevere until the end for the supposed crown of life. Now, this is the clear fact and this is the thing. I will be a homosexual, I will be a murderer, I will be a demon, I will be a degenerate, I will be a liar, I will be a junkie, I will be a felloner, I will be a thief, I will steal everything that they said, and because of they will never allow me, and because of they will ever reach out for I will get first. And also which what it means to be me. And it's not a lie. Now, which they turns to saying that God will ever keep them to be, not me. That they had to be, not me. I have been birthed, Eliah, and I will come to his will above, again, by himself making, being who I am and who I were before I've been birthed. Eliah. And this is not something that I can imagine. The reality of the royal I am and the reality of what as testimonies already and way too far. Ain't nothing else to say. I am not pretending, I am not making my own. I am, I were and I will be ever. Now, keeps on proceeding about the same old and keeps on making up photos and lies, seamless this, telling that they captured me and I will be internated or in jail for there to go to kidnap people, and keeps on making the same thing and coming to the houses of people and ¿y qué te cuesta? Should I say the words? Chupamela un poco. Sorry for this, it's exactly textual. And the reality that delivers into the CHRONOLOGIES. ¿Qué carajo te pasa? ¿Cómo te atreves? What the, happens to you or matter with you? How the dares, and comes around for the hearing. And suck up, no I don't want, suck up and punching until unconscious, because of that. This is Sodom and Gomorrah gender bill of the one that promoted the soul with its Sodom and Gomorrah, bracing the generada excremental criatura, like that breed, ever after. Sorry for this. Let's talk about what you wanted I to tell you. Let's put it here. And you want that term. Again, making a change if you want, and forgive me, I get a little more confidentially comfort. having more comforted while through. Read about this in situation 2 toward what this means. At the clear, I can tell you the original tale. The fox loses or exchanges hair, but not the mania way. Or manners, but it's not manners, it's the Beicht way, so it will be maniac class manias. So suddenly, the reality to say, I don't see foxes here, I see snakes, class, but are not the usual you can find in a road or in a forestry or whatever. Predators, right? Country, woodlands, or sand deserts, but this special sickness class that nobody wants around. So the snakes exchanges the skin and seems like but still are snakes. So suddenly, whenever I see here, I see other class that you can check at Atzoram-Vidas and Kola Roshtiv and tells, because of presumes of Adam and Ede ad absor, and presumes to be the goodness and the saints, but has just the shield. Inside are rotten abominations. Now, the reality, and why it turns to feel provoked and offense, pretend to killing people all around. Because I said this. I will offend them in front of the whole of the world and embarrass them. So they need to kill because. So they are the sickness, I say. Now, at the clear fact of this all, and for the putting in clear, some normal element for the plekimorrebefakhposmatlebesasim. To the said aplekimorrebefeblebisos. We have been discussing what it is criminology all through and all-broad, as much what would evidently come to be the elemental for the main power and constituted feral image and nothing off of me. Legacies which we can already define again, the whole witches were named, naming and were named, which still now we have another that it will be really interesting to point in. There were, for the history, they're called Yav-Aroshta, which is not exactly that denominatively to the liver, which will be actually Art-Ator Krev-Rostu, Dabraf. Once this, that you can find at the history licensed anthropologist and philosophy licensed professor, were last moon that his real title were amazing. But even though certain things which were not found and nothing to corroborationally a certain clear which he expresses and says, okay, but I cannot say this to be this way, but the right element of associating all through us understood and studied and watched from civilizations at similar ways too, ain't nothing to say that can probably not be, but even though the patterns as all through are at the whole of what this class of civilization just proceeded, doesn't refuse that this can be possible neither, or something which can mean to be this. This is the point which is really interesting to talk. A lot of civilizations has the radical elemental point for what it is the has a root. The reality for this is in pleki mohre vefechol chava pleki mohre tachish vasebavlidim. And pleki mohre vefechol pleki kabarra vechal charigim sofen. And pleki mohre vefech matzechal viki harfocha legibit sosen. Sleki mohre vefechol tzikabl pleka vechal legibit sosen. Aslokim birefach vachalkim birefach vefchal lefsis sichishmet. In pleki mohre vechmatzi ALTHROUGH fored charigim sosen. Al sika plekora vefechot charigim shakti kamara vecham. Ben pleki mohre vefechot ishka pleki vefachal achmatlechi vikoble vesofan. Lenko mohre vefechot charigim vefachal vesofan vesfat meseren. In pleki biret chalachmat sechab bla vesosesher. Glein mohre vefechim metzachal vesot levim. Gelbo krachti gasmat lefeshvat. Ansemara. So, clear for this problem and about the situation where nothing to say, nothing to discussable for what it brought and the situation itself. Now, let's put in at the evidence on this. There is the normalist root and the root to put evidence of. The element of the decad and decadence, the words of the whole of the pronouncing, but decadence for the plechavisachishpot dishvasim baplekim. So to say decadence is the plekor which unmorphologically possible or plausible for when it is English, but English. So English and decadence so English decadence how would this come? You found the Ireland, Scotland, you see the source, you see the plagia of but certain elementals are class of not associated and looks like if there would be. So decadence, it is not decadence or decadence, but Hamatlim depends on Australia, UK or America. Von and whenever you go to English, it's not the same. But we can have Dublin, give a Bringsford, and like in London, Sydney, DC. Man speelt at beslotin aan Maabe, South Africa, Republic Democratic Gushwas, Republic Bakabsman, SSF, But now, the reality is, through the whole, seems like everything has a relation. But even though there are differences, all through which is identity. To the telling this, we found around this exactly 4 applicants forgive me please. And slu kerofach man chalvion plevespora vesim as legimare. Slo en sechal en slo vesmosim. Slin kambora fochalevisospat lev ateshmosivat. Kol blekimoret sechal and blevisosmativisosher. Slenkimora vesachmatzim. Slenkimora vefochaves paplevesam. Shluma remafara vesachilivimov. Slometremafach biot levesosasher. Slim baramatim, spoplik barat. Slen chodchal, slen chodlechim, ad levis poravesechal visosem. Is lekim avretach visosem. Let's put in the example already with this situation. I were with overweight. Whenever I just came thinner, losing weight, but even though I have certain corporal mass that shouldn't be around, the situation is older and dealing with problems around which I cannot make what I would perceive about making to keeping an sportive state which I love. But the reality of this makes me through other class of circumstantial problems which are not referred about me or directly I would do or sustain or coming forward. Then, long ago with Melech Gadavas and Chandoniero, they wanted I to buy some new clothes. And suddenly I loved this shirt, really modern, youth, and certain model, a little tight, for dresses really awesome and gives a shape. And I wear thinner, and I felt in a very other, elemental, better state, but even though the reality is the fabrics is not the best, and this trademark, the Red Cross, which is awesome and not for advertisement, really provides a very special design which at the fabrics doesn't provide neither what will be the quality for not to open whenever tense and not for not to be my size. So suddenly it depends on the state of the body whenever the normal of anatomy delivers seems like opening a little bit. Now, if I come to Bleki Magravesechli, Magravesocashveta, Magravesecheli Visosnim, Magravesoshtalachi, Magravesafam, Batlenim, suppose. I don't know, let's sing Krylum, Rip Curl, or let's sing, I don't know, bands. And I buy certain shirt on the Blechmaserlish Bagarhivis Motlenesosim. A little tight as well, but the condition of the Blekimochevesichishvasim structural gives a little bit more Blekimochevesichishvasechmatlechvan isasim anatomically a little bit most disposed for the condition of as position of the body will not open or deliver the Blekimochevesichvachamatsim and deliver the Blekimochevesichvasim and not to shape so like in Blechmochevesofam. Even though the reality is, are awesome buff, I love them. But the situation is, where do I fit? And what will be the most ever representative of the reality of my condition, how to wear and go through for the liking of the normal view, as I will just come through. And I'm sorry forgive me, I have still a little bit, I'm going to work it out somehow. Forgive me please. Now, Skelchamachli, Shlechbatli Kamarabefochalchti Beshochabacema. The proper, it doesn't mark a difference except where you go through and with. The most ever looking, it won't be different, but whenever you mix and which class, who accepts and what the looking and who will accept or simply. So, it's a sheer then, and suddenly you see people that works in other ambience and yeah, please, come on. Which not for being pejorative, but is diversity at the reality of the judgment. But once you understand, you see yourself and you say, all right, oh my God, I better use some wider and some comfortable, and I'm not going to make a very element for camp of my wearing, but suddenly something which to make me rest a little bit for whatever the condition, and I just go through and all right, now the reality is diversities are for the clear fact of how you go through it, and the situation is how you make your view, how you speech your communication, how you make yourself being identifiably known and clear. All through this, with Chedeshvitam comes a lot of circumstances. Once the Blekarav Hamatlachini is it's a normal reality that we are with the dynamics And the dynamicy of this is, they said, they know how to do to me. How to doing it. What's that? One thing we can just corroborate and having in count. The clear fact of this is elementally intelligence, logistics, and permanent switching the point, core, focus, and object for them. Predators of hell, because of any other R, at the reality of the prey that they identify for the them purpose, them pursuit, and them intentional for what creates or wants and says must. Then, at the right they start to make the communication and, oh yeah, sure, I know you. Then, you have a problem. They start to presenting themselves and, yeah, sure, and you have another. Because of once they understand and starts to watching, studies, and mixes. That's the reason why I said never underestimate them, but know them well. The clear fact of what this is about and that you wanted to discuss is Spompleki mogave fragment chalivitora vesechishvim mapleki mogave sechlim. Skalibagave fechalivisoptika magave fora dachlika bagave sochishvat lemesafim. Skalika magave fechuab levetika redishvan lemefora spapletam. Slanki mogave tarmeti bablegi mogave fora leki vesoratish bablegi mogave suat si bablegi mogave sasim. Shlegi magave bagave sechiviob levesot leki mogave foat leki vasechatsi. Sleki shua leki magave chalivichove sasivim. Slanki vitredat shmota pleki mogave fara tachil visotli misachdish vosim. Skaloko rave fechaligi mismot sashlo nishmat leki merave fochalat. Kalkeo ravech miat leki mirave fochal visoslevis. Shlemia foratika chavte vismot visoslavim. Von rave fochamat leki merave fochal visosleki vishkal kara chalek mosatlinim. Slomet leki merave sosininim. Baslevisos shechal omplevam. Skalko rave fochal morave svad visoslevis moshev. Sochalach. Smotlamin marave. Slotika marave fechuab visosleki shavrek chamapleki masechaleki morave fan. Anslegi morave fechalev smotlemi vachalef famad. Gelbo rave fechalevi smotlevi somaslegi morave sosim. Anslegi morave foat levisachlim. Blenka morave fechuad ki morave fechali. Antlemet sogamad. Inbot legi morave fochabat blevesasen. Slegi morave fechalev sachlim. Ontleki morave fa. Pleki vorete fospa. Ken chamam. Skol blekan rave fereliki. Rave sochal bekama rave chuad blevesasin. There is but what they pursued is Rav telling that they will strip that they never allowed. Feral at that they commence and they will say what it will be and nobody to qualify them or judge them or telling them what to be or who to be or what to do. And with the intention and intent for making criminal, murder, and whatever, even genocide intent at any step toward what they say is got to be accomplished. Skoble kamarave fechal chelim, skoble vigrave fochelevis marat, chelevis sosplagi maraves on salam. Skalbika refochalakibits potletishika, rafipi liki, revivitish. רתח מחליק מרופס ובלביסמד וסושלגי מרד וכל בזמן וסשליק. סקל מירם אנספובלקים מרפו על בלביסמוסדם. סקולטי רפו רמצח הלכתי שלגי ורפו חמבלביסווד וסנושלים. אטליקים בו רפחל בסות לביסושלקים ורפחל עצמו בלביסמון רד השפים. סלקיביץ. לכל ריבה רב פחמוצי לביסושלקי ורחל חמבלך מחל בסופין, אין לגי רופח לביסוש לביסוש שמות לקח אנסס מטל. il kivirov echal chalagim iforevis vaseshavim, albekim eratus motves, shlagim ishech. לכל כיוון רבירה, פרט חלך מטרה, הסרוב לגיש וקבל עד למוסם. גל בורף וחל חליקי שיביתה, גל חשלקי ושלישים, איבלקו רבף וכל חלחם בבלבסוס מטלבסרים. על דרוף החלגים מסורש וסמות לגימה, רבסות לבסוס שסיד, אינקול בלדים הרבס אחרים, סור. סקליקה מראה ופוחל חיל וסוחש וחל מפרדיש מחל וסוסים אל גיבור ופחול חמצב הבא שלום הסר עם קובלר חמחם. But the reality is how to feed the reality itself at the image to be acceptably believed. Not plausible, acceptably believed. Skoblekim of Faralibishach, and Blekim of Sechal Vesot Levisma Ravefoch Lekibisuch Hamaplan, Bablekim of Resos Levisma, Galeroach Lekibishach Mochava Rocha Basmat Vesosim. Skalkibo Ravefelekim Ratashvu Atlikim of Raton Toskalko Troti Tsevatash Lekim of Foramatem, Rathalam. Distortion is the element for possible to identify. The lie is something like somebody can just, at the moment, having a very view. The impossible is the clear fact of the judgment. And the clear of all is reality, shows the whole at the time of the, anybody can share and be watching and understand what happens. So you have 804 or 829 possibilities around what a community can provide for a field in and feed to the business. Now, Skalkova klach matzia blevorefach, lech matzi vishlak emorefach, vachlan karat chigi visoslak masochush batligim arabefim. And blegi refach lachadi kishvadarach laomachad masmat leveset. Skalkim arabefor elechach lakis motlevis moresh vasimavem. Galchamachlin. The normal precedence galkim arabesich ishvasmin. And proceed for where the one that will identify, where the risk that will say no, where the one that knows and will be willing to kill, to protecting, and where the ones that will be willing to believe, and where the others that will be willing to associate. Which, never mind, except for the use of time, and if there are not the clan, are F-word and killed. Skodleke marrefechal bitzvitislach, halachman machal bikar refochal bismarretin, son levisoshekim, rebachlacham, bableke masim basevam. I drive you to 1922. At Paris, there were rumors of the Golrevich Mida Vespagalekish Vitarach Tavas Basevam. Miss Loki marrefechal bisosimi, bablebesive. And were 8 elements in Paris at 9 Dikoblek Revespas Masashim, which were called Jila Rusumbio Trati et such et Rustanta, in a very pejorative way, and mixing these two languages. So suddenly all through were the Binref Benrens and the Shman Bishpoat Nyons and Yeshila Num and Kumovians, Tastubau. And everybody were asking why would Germany taking positions at the most of what it were the reality of Paris, France. And the clear fact were, oh, it's not Germany, it's just a very element of policy and something which the new government pretends to instaurating for the Magnachad. And the government were not France. And there said, we were always here, and always we were doing, and in those times were called François Vorotouve, and were not a name known in France at all, except for Murs Larumsven, which is the being proceeding in France for the 20s. Now, saying, since when we've changed, which not knowing our president and the government administration. And everybody were wondering, what is this all about? I don't like it. And that rumors were for about 4 years and extended until 1941. They already were taking positions and making strategy and power intelligence, but looks so similar. How possibly can that be? Isn't he? Changed the name for some reason. What happened here? But he's a little taller. Now, I don't like his aspect. It's too pale. Since when our president is like a very milk thing all around, and what happened with its hair? Is classified crowd or something with a very short? I don't know. I'm not convinced. What happened to our president? Everybody were sorry to say, Roviansi das most borre bin bestalking refu legeri bin rotbesante bishop repsin khmotsmon très fragile un bisschen porté que besop schkeblasi borle bon repasse de sur attends ça site je pas khminot lengibre method kroti. Then Splakin morales vorrachement, plakin morspons, petoslanti de redescenti, des choses pas rares, oui, on jette un peu, tradivi sorti quand redesla, parce que si la France, un travail aussi, l'ingre pensé pour raves, soit pense si la gouvernement national, vu radis ponté de son séchak, représentation sud, qui est accepté à vu remit un échelon chusva, redaxiva, tchnou. Then, the reality were, they concerned how would this just come to happen while and through the disaster, where exactly they were with not understanding and totally alienated at the point for us community. They were with so familiar everything, with not understanding how possibly to look so different and everything will be like, but it's okay. Them cannot be any other. And there were rumors all around, while notices were all scandalized for a lot of people, which were asking somebody to help them because of the government will get whacked and making weird things and nobody knew how to get off. And Jewish around were telling in a very out loud somebody to make something because of the things were not okay, there were a conspiracy all around to exterminating Jewish and everyone to be around and nobody wanted to believe them because of everything will be just fine and nothing will happen. And they were fitting in. And everybody believed, but the ones that were murdered, like the massive disaster massacre while Avignon and Vuros at the north of Paris, over the parliament of la France, le government, blorvidonsi par recherche entre DISPREEDOTEZEMITIA, Jiravitu, which they were analyzing the reality and the changes in the so radical figure looking so similar but nothing like. And the accent were excellent and were excellent the way to direct and behaviors and manners and the whole as usual used to be, but even though there were a difference between the shape, the height and everything else, the texture. So suddenly, understanding this is not the person. And they were massacred. Everybody started wondering why happened that. And made up the story of some Jewish were conspiring against the government of the France, pretending to taking the government, saying that they were totally alienated and schizoid, like the Rofis Boromestimische Boromvisba and Tipijatot to Réunion Citish à Ibrahitrantige, the Francis restaurant. Buram, Adishkubdatsijite, Burata, Zetasu, Buramaton. In Rebimus Barantis sur ce par Antarum, ce sont Dieu versati. And were contra-logistic starting to disappear in Jewish, saying that they were fighting against attempting against the government. And the people wouldn't understand much and started watching Jewish and families completely disappearing all over. And what is going on here? Where are you taking them to? We don't have no much space as infrastructure for whatever you say this is. The matters about what class of a crime that we never seen. What is it your problem and why are you looking so different? And started to murdering Parisian and others. And people started wondering why this. And there were a disaster which for a moment standing at the reality of making a thug and a lie, trying to putting and establishing delimitedly other class of elements for there had happened with Bin Rashba and Todishu. And they proceeded about the working. Now, this lasted, as we know, until 1941. And the shape were at the day, and the looking were donc si je jure, donc si ça mourra en ce jeu l'erreur de penser, le jet de Brésil le gouverneur, donc de Jansi. The way they're used to saying. Vermesi le gouvernement parce pour être sensible chose pour eux, that's a tush tamim. السجل كما غرد فقط بيغرد سقمت لك كما غرد سخلك لسوسين شاء نخمت لك مخالة. While through this, people were changing the mood, the ways, the story, the reality, and also the behavior all through us used to being friends. And all through came a very radical distarlikove shebanrivisim that were called La Morumsu Dorchiko Bortaset Jarimin. And this we're mixing as well. And in the middle of this reality were the plekim b'rave foralitis partechlach matzacheshab and lekim b'rave sofim. Previously, at this to start to happen, there were Burdi Shotsu Burmatan, the clan. And while this were happening, Vanuv Jurerti and Jels Viantash, taking positions for the making the supporting at the government. And the problem is, they were alienated. And once that, they already were making the intelligence, the reason why the rumors of DEPLETED and Yamidi Vrons and the Snochetakartus, the Soplatuzi, or done. And the reality were, everybody were warned and also at the same time suppressed, destroyed, and taking conditions and positions, and nobody understood how they would be succeeding and possibly happening. And the rumors were the alarm in the US saying, I don't like this, we have problem. And like Maravesish Maraveki Maravesuspat, like Maravesohish Vasmatlivin. And something like were a rumor while Kim Boravesechish Machalibismotev. Retichish Vasim. Mr. President of the United States of America. I know that and I don't like it. I know them and I were wrong, Chinese, and I saw them since then and chant about we're screaming out loud, don't you let them in. Since Roosevelt, until Nixon and after, so, in the middle of the reality, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, in the at the career, the youth and Plekishma. Galki Moreves Barati, Matsehali Bishonsera, Kimi Revetos Matsera Bale, but Kilaki Moreves Shecha Levis Matsalin. And the situation where Stalin Alvinir Vreoila. Galki Moreves Sechlacham, I don't like those, but seems like doing something like we know what the heck is going on there. And Bleki Moreves Fechalegi Shochal Hibiravas Sochalegi Sosim, and Bleki Masim. And Bleki Moreves Fechalegi Sochmatze of Levis Sosash Vasimar. Are you understanding what is happening there? Oh, Leki Machavesim, warn everybody and don't you dare to cross no line and watch how to putting the people away from here. Already have been sitting all over Europe and the border countries and even Jerusalem. And already we're making the whole of the Blikim and the rumor where they are understanding and knowing what we think and what we feel and what we happened all through anything we went through. And they are understanding the reality and making changes all through to using this against us to making us look like and understanding what we went suffering and that ain't nothing invited for they to do and we didn't say a word. Twisting stories and making whatever up for the easy sagab. We're government after all. Meanwhile, Belgikim Arave Fogal Gematzin, Gestel, where? Berides Porama Halivitowash, Baltikim Arave Hubablim, Skobletim Arave Farel, Visforal Kimisaram, Bablevisos Legidisish Lakim Arave Fort, Gelkum Arave Parati, Masachalek Visoslish, Legim Arave Sochalek Visosar, Roplame Plakim Arave Sachimis, Dolpi Doltikish Lakim Arave Subati, Beromat Legim Arave Fogal Visoglivisoslaki, Roplakim Ateravitis, Matlevisoravetsoslaga, Aravesochalakimatab, Slaveshukuatikal, Reptabamato, Salveshokolach, Lami Antleviswoman Shkumbatzimakti, Boravefecholepis Barata, Hamablevisoglivisoslaki, Maravesachalkishwasim, Rimbablegivisogalashpita, Radechmablevismatlam, Ishkoblatika Maravefochalvisoglivisoslish, Amberamaplak Masachalivisoslaki, Maravesoslaki, Maravetasvi, Slaki Mirapti Baspati, Kishloki, Veravechumatlenes, Madlevisoslevika, Roplaki Maravesushalki, Varavefo, Aplevesma, Retiklik, Mispatashtleki, Maravefochalvisotli, Maravesosmikimisim, Maravepatlik, Retishpati, Mahuma, Blevesmona Mismatletish, Kibiti, Retipisat Lestosleka, Poropa, Amtaslaki, Miratmasarali, Bishofel, Makarali, Patlitim, Skapita, Maravefochalaki, Maravesoslevesosamivel, Skalbachama Blekmachal, Besosamablim. Skalbachamam, Spotlik me, Shlechmachal, Stlemi Havasar. Shlibachama Blekmaravasech, Fishosinablim. And Blekimaravet Bachli, Sosef, Stlemi Havta, Bertlikim Ravasosabina. The method is what they call techniques. Glekim Moravet Bachalekim, Ravasoslevish Vatach Machalekiveta, Schlekim Maravefachalekim, Ravasok, Klak Maravesotlevi, Seshlekimi, Roplakim Maravefort, Ralevisachlekim, Atlaki, Visotlekim, Maravesip, Skatlekim Maram, Bagdad, Kamatlika, Maravefort, Plevis, Vatlakim, Bablat, Selushkim, Matlikim, Boramati, Moraves Poplevas, and Shlakim, Maram, Bablavesosa, Bentlimi, Rebaplevsi, Roblevi, Maseplevash, Moravepi, Revetosvetlivisam, catches the 20% by reading tellers, and the rest is intelligence and inchefti chakam. Reb Where is the group? What is the virtue of it? The reference, the element of belief, understanding, known. The clear fact of the reality implies how to make and studying. Confusing, lying, making the blechmasi. Once inside, you've got them all already surrounding. And once surrounding, you have to kill or die. Skoblegim marave fecholaki marave sechishvat lak marave sochaliki misablegim marave bakliki borave fachaliki sochaliki mishaktika borave chmoti able sochilis amtlivim vaskelvika ravachad lisim skobleki marat ishki botleki miretespi atle anti chosho mi ka boatsi rim atzmi gilishke ro ad eshtam ko rafi Gebaramatak al Meravisi, Havaplo Sechmatin. Ishlegimba. Sorry. Ishlegimba. Refach Matzile, Fosselkim, Ravesashechal Vespotam. Inkobladika Maravefochal Vesoslegimi, Ravespotili. Slomasim. Skobladim Maravefochal Vespotam Vesoslegim, Aplecam Ravespot. In Sosleki Maravefochal Kimaravestosle in Sosteki. Bankorot. את לביסופים, בין כל הרוטור הם בדיליס מוסשים. בלגים ברפוחל בקית אחד כשדו בתרום, בלאום עלם, בלאום הרבם, בלאום הסבם, אינסטו בלגי רופו בת עד האץ. מסלוגים הרפוחל לביסושלק, המרוב הפרצי, אלה שלו כל שלו חם, לגים הרפוחל לביסות לביס. Kalbektim Maravefechot, Levispa Ravefachim Ismot, Levismot Levisoshed, Maravachmatlim, Impoplekim Maravesim, Bob Levismot Levisonsha Lak Reivisi, no mi am vets ilak Schmirefo Blesish Inkchevim. Boravefechlam, Snosh. Skalkim Maravefechli, Visokanachal, Visochish, Vatlekim Maravespor, Divisosish. Kelkim Maravefechli, Vitashmatlekim Maredi, Patlaktik, Ravesochle, Visot, Nateshra. Kablekim Maravefochaleki Maravetik, Shvalekim Maravefochle, Visocham, Ablekim Maravesochle, Visoslik, Maravefochle, Visoslaki Shatik, Roblekim Maravefechli, Visuma, Ravachale, Visotli, Mishachalaki Visiv, Impoplekim Maravefochle, Visachishva, Namblakem, Roblekim Maravesechishvaser, Namblekim Afma. They were always studying all as Eladon were doing, and the process between Egypt and the whole entail, how the persons of a high and power were manifesting and what are doing with the power. They want power, 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 and all as the sinister, all as unknown, all as dark, all as element which will be, they will handle the well and the bad, and they will be the supremacy of the whole of the supposed divinity implies at the reality of the spiritual supremest ever, all known and all handled, and will be the core of the life and death and everything around the Blech Mesim, the start of the evening and the dawn. How to proceed about to using with no dying and to preserve the image and being the Blech Machal B'Seresim no matter how and what, and never let the stain, for they gotta be the immaculated story for the Blech Machalisim superior. Androvita, supriviat, andusto. The image and the element for the elemental ku and el maletulam pretends to be like God. We don't get praised about the spiritual, but Masonry were exactly the pursuit of everything which it meant the highest ever element of power. And the core of this is creeding and pretending to be at the cost of anything, and also whoever and whoever to destroy because of they will conceive the reality that they will deserve it and they will be in nobody else. Like destroy whoever to offense it, and making the staining or destruction or any condition of attempt like any demon. סוף פלגים מעורב ופחל ביקרה מחל וסוחל וסוחלים, שקל ביקרה ופוחל לחמת לביסים. At the difference, crime is one thing that they do. At the difference, crime is one thing we put in order for a just to be. בין רבי ספור המתליגים יסר רבי ספור רבי חל ושמחליגים ירבי סוסתי. שקל רבי פור המתליגים הרבי חלי וסוס לביסון שותי בו רבי ספתי, קל כמו רבי תחלה וסוסן לבטליגים הרבי סובם, וסלובי רבי פור הלגים לסבם. אז פלגים הרבי פחלי ביטרלי חלי וסמוד לביסוס לגים, הרבי פוחלי ביסוד לביסוס לדים. רדך מה חליבים. You remember please what I'm going to tell you now. https www.dpicbmt8489 Lincoln Lipar Lincoln Likov PMI Secomba Exeta Kulta Kem BIC5 Groschor Rambank, the name DI Black Mirror Fispora the Tan Revisus Lekim Revoham Mahapeti Revohalibi Revachmotla Bispotla Bisosha Ropleki Maraves Parat, Hamakhaleki Misohali Bispotli, Marave Fohal Vespara, Dachmachal Vesodim. Calpotlanim, Calpotrebam, Calpothermosphera, Vefohal Vismont, Levispara, Dachmachalgim, Middle Tishwatlekim, Revohlagim, Middle Cis, Middle EDITPI 55.8 system protocol F7. The whole last tools works in a Simpa, says with Nantuv Makafi Kabat. For clearing, redirectioning, PMC plugin, PMC scripting, PMC PIT, emulating Kimbut and switches for the right to be and makes the right clear. And doesn't redirect, no worms, no plefam, no clavim, no mirrors and nothing to rip out or catching whatever the element or switching out. Now, I'm telling you one thing. I had again this problem, forgive me please, I am in a very situation that I'm loud whatsoever. I'm using the Samsung, the Galaxy Chat to make this, and I had the idea for making this in a very normal way to record it. Now, for the reason of what we know, you needed to be using the one that I have been using lately, the storage. And I had the whole of the rest videos and not much capacity, but in the phone I had something. And the reality is like seemed to storage too much. So I am puzzling, and it's insufferable. So I'm gonna join the whole of the tracks in one, and I'm gonna send you one video like we've done before. Now, certainly clear is a bleki magave forat, hama bleki magave sohish, but bleki magave forat, ki magave chale soslim. Shkel ki magave forat, ki magave forat, ki sochem, besla ki magave shtal chadach la meteran. Begla ki magave forat, ki dishpata rachale knosech min mesimi. As lepi ropi retishka, as lepi ropi rofach matal viyam levesos motash kibiti, rolo chalachamati. Ampleki mocher, fechti kishkita chalak, bin romut, and la repeli ki redis asher. A seglo tika ravefocham aplek tika rat matnas asher. Bleki mocher vefochad ki virapachad chal visos legis asheriti. Kelbo ravechal blek tika mocher vechal chalakim yiretach kishvasi. Ampleki mocher vesechla achilis masim. And are stalling to me the whole that I have in my folders and my desk. Policy of the Argentina Gendarmeria Nacional is Sodom y Gomorra, Kirchner's Evangelitas, to tell you that everything will be damaged because of what you must make to. The sin has started. Now, Skoat ligam roflech matzivam plebesim. Skoat ligam refuchad bledi refuchad blebesos matseshelem. Skopletika rat chalachava plavesostiki shilika. Roat blavis malavaspo takim morave paravesachaleki visosam. Mimorave fragmentser raptim, amblevi forave sachvativa. Sopleki barave fochal bechmatsikam, בהחק לבסוסמטיבה, בקימה רבפוגטיבה מת, סות לוי רבפוגה לביספוקני, רבחוב לבסוסדים. In blackima revefecha levisoselim. In blackima revesan. While any excuses like this perros abominados to making damages and destroying, for they will concede to be the unique source and element and nothing off of them, and they wouldn't allow so anything which exists predeterminedly by the author and the one that has rights to live wouldn't be allowed until they took concern that this will exist, but nothing off of them, and nothing that they would say to be except what then ornaments will immediately putting in order. So destroys and makes the whole of that gestalt destruction and damages the lie ring that they will say the truth for the opportunistically conscious element to putting them supposed orders and making the job of taking off what they says example now that I will drop in these videos, for them to go to mutilating more people and destroying and murdering more people and robbing to more people and giving them money, with them a bunch nasi varobot. And the reality of Bleki Marave Fogaleki Sasim. Then where the Bleki Marave Fogamatiki Marave Sosleki Marave Fogaleki Faser, as Bleki Marave Fogaleki Maratachla Havatosleki Marave Soslesim. And were permanently covering what they needed to proceed about how the power to reach. They wanted God, they wanted Chai, and the sirs were nation. This is the same. The sirs is me, a nation. So, Ben Rastach Matzik Alekimerim, evangelicals, the generados are making the same. With the pardon of you. For Ramba Bleki Marave Fechelach Matelebi Sosleki Barave Fochelakim. Sleki Morave Fechalibitachish Bodleki Marave Fochelabatvi. Retachalachamats Baplepsim. The problem is it's not a witch tale and it's not an angels and demons versus comics. Skobleki Marave Fechalbitach Machalbishpur Ravechalibisosim, and we come to the parapsychology. But the term delimitedly delivers into how to understand the condition of the psychologically elemental psyche of whatever element entity, which doesn't have to be spiritual. Now, science delivers into we don't become witches. We understand the natures, we understand the reality, and we use development. And we develop devices and we develop element to cogniting capacities at the reality of sharp and understand what do we have in front and how they move, who they are and what they do. And the source is Enchai. But understanding Torah and understanding the natures and the source, we work also for something that we understand the reality too. We understand the evidences, we understand the reality, the procedure, the going through and how they move, what they seek, what they cognites, how they puts them orders, and what they pretends, and what them mobile between the reality of the intention and the purpose and pursuit. Para will be off of the normal as the imphathized. One normal person that's physically you have in front, that's not the kashbin, that you have the normal social. Off of or extra. So, in this case will be extra, and the reason is we don't break our heads and we don't become crazy and we don't go to no ghosty reality and nothing to delivers your flying mind all through whatever and however. Oh my God. No, we understand nature's identity and we go to service, and the service is preserved by institutions about who provides information and reality, and further that we make the normal procedure as institutions. So if tells me techniques and science for supposed security and national security and supposed governmental, supposed allowed, to making this class of abominations, I have techniques and science to putting in order this class of crimes that are powers untangible for the reality of the mental health. And ain't no crack, like Forensics Argentina, to talk about what just something around because of there is an instant of the conscience just gets in a emission, which thanks to Hayek we don't have nothing wrong and our anatomy is in order. Alright, so intestines are another class of a function and are in place. Them's I can say. But sorry for this. It's violent, but understood the reality. Rot lechmia vlech masechal kan, rep lakimo revespach lekivo revesoft ledis masechal shivika, roptika ma revefochal, bachnika ma revefochal, ledispateram, raptika ma raptiva, plakama revispotushia, koplekimo revefoch patasalam, antlekivo revefoch pati repatikam, replachman, se eblivim. Serrat kimar refochel visosmit. Skoat likim do refochel kibi repachal matan soslotosh kiba refochel kibisasev. Slekim repachal visok matach ligishvasen. And lekim repachal visok ablegim refochel visosanire. Skemplikam refocham ablegim refochel chavatim. Skoblegi marave fechua blebespaka tachtlach matzeshav. An la rave chivitara koshek legi marave fechal chematlamam. An splegi verava fachel visus legi shvatarach legi misameti. Sat letosh, sat levikor, sat lekobar, sat legi mishpa, sat lekoshpati, sat lekim boravesi, sat levesmodesh kabli, sat leki borave fochal visisish, leki virave paspat. Kal berofachel vismotinsh, kal robos matevsmotinsh, kil parafachal, kil parchavatovam, kil parchavatechal, basperosikishifiv, rebachaveltish moterafichel visosli masachel kishvatam, robleki verafil, kishvatarafachol, vesulkinisvaran, chamarabatu, spatik marafochel, visochel kishvatarmachal, besmas, despatetiski, robleki marafochel, visosliki vismatacham, slipa shekolaki rafafochal, chamatlekima, Robleki veravesos levika fora techalchal sep levi framatli ma ravefochal visim shkableti ravefochal ki veravesach lachamat levisosti paravachal chamat lachim maslagi vishot legi ma ravefal choti chamachal visim shochlagim. You never let no peace off whenever you have to face such a bakligamasim monsters. They are packs. They don't move along. So you understand where, whom, what, and which. And after you put orders, and after you control what they predates how they proceed with, you, understanding what you face, and if possible not face to face, monster, leki marave fochal, leki marave fochal visosim. Ishkal bika marave fochal visot levisman. Sklebi Ramaplech Machabe Plausible Sesim. Pleki Marave Fachol Chivitach Veshpachat Kilimisim. No witch, no evangelic. No Pleki Marave Sach, no altar, no Pleki Marave Sifisive, Lesh Marave Facholakimasim. Cannot grope, cannot force, cannot be grope, misses the core. But there are tricky, so you don't trust. Once this happens, they are packed and always comes one and another like a rain. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Once you go put them down, you get tired and comes more like a pack until they put you, which don't have to happen. Von Rebe Pharmatik im Rebe Fochal bis Pachlik im Rebe Sochich Valisim, Spaldik im Rebe Fochal Bitara Fochal Bisotli im Rebe Fochal, Stlek im Rebe Fochal Bisotlek im Rebe Fochal Bisotli, Spatling im Rebe Valiam, Skaplik im Rebe Fochlakim. You start to make the Blek im Rebe Sim take the power away. They are off of core. And the power is spelled follows. And the whole of the generations they were doing at expositions, they lose a score. Van Robert Lechmachalchinim are hell feral animal and are dangerous. Van Klekim Arave Fochad Vitach Vachalevisos Lekim Areim Bablesim Shlekim Arave Chalchachnim, they sense to kill and they wants to kill. Destroy the altar and they misses the peace and are dangerous. Van Klekim Arave Fochol Chalam Batlachinim, take away the sacrificial and they wants to kill. Say to them, you command, and they wants to kill. The problem is the number and organize them. How they done like Hitler in Paris. Bongredi parave sechla ki mi rovachal visoslek kamarave fam stlebi kamarave poredi spatla ki mi ratishkal chachama pleves fosim galbi ramachla ki visosim, like I was saying, fencing and ambience, sanitation of institutions and nobody in, and tells whatever strategy for trying to bend down and making in. Because of real estate as well, and you cannot forbidden the possibility will come International Criminal Court or license office, and you are making monopolizing, and you are making with this view naturally some attempting or some interest that we can denounce and clearly show at the evidence. And even if you will prove it, they will say you can making up this because of you have your criteria, and will seek alleviated. So pleki marave fecho platika marave fochal viso pledisish pleki marave fecho pletikish kalki virave chua pleves ostoshtitzkava rolachmuna makleki marave fochal visot levin. And we know they are sickest of all and criminals of ever after we will never imagine will exist, like any other. Let's establishing equilibrium. We count with people, we count with wisdom, and we are people that also have response about how to making something between this to survive it. And not like pouring and neither submitting, but wisely to understanding what is the feral crap, to understanding how to avoiding, not stop to breathing and keep on making like naturally as with nobody to get that far, which is complex like hell in person. But Reblokimi rave fochal vitaram chale fochal levisos levim, shkalkima rave fochal vitara vesochal levismot vesoshev, speltikan rave fochal kima rave fochal levisos legim, security, alert, and understanding, and never paranoia, panic, and pray. Salves Margaret Fachlini, so Slaki Margaret Fochalevis Batim, Skalpika Rafachal, Basmotlavis Sochraplavachal, Slaki Margaret Fochalevis Sastiki Splaki, Reptachala Madini Mitsila Skibito Rafochalamas Schmutz, Speko Rofal, Abechobatliki Maravasochashva, Lak Maravasomat, Stelegibi Rabitiki, Lakibi Rofat, Levesos Teshti, Replika Teshoti Maravafochal, Maravafochalevisot Lenis. I wish you to take a look around the historical Museum of Blavin, that you have the complete of the collections and how it were just like Pulitzers between and the whole of the lines of witnesses and the survivals, the exposition of what it were the Reich thing, called Reich. Von Rebbe Plach Masecheli Visok, Likamaren, Fakaleki Visoslikidit, Ritafarelakime Ratosliki, Rafat Levesmata Vesustustia, Relakima Parafas Pidit, Telekishipia Rofapita, Sekolorosh Adeborofos Sosti Itchela, Bi Rocheati, berofecha legimi ravefol avesmo ravefecha levisostive. Skelpo ramparamba ratiki ravespula tikishalak averofecha vala avelo alakal sepo otzila roshinam aba akol aroshitafim skoblegima ravefecha levisostive skelech machal vasmot Begligma ravefochl visotlevis, stelekima ravefochlin, stelepikava chavashlushti chamatem. And I want you to remember, please, remember this. Pa atsushel kima ravesov, idlavis maradevis matledem, skolepikava chavalvis poremekal ravetosmati, roblekima ravetefiselvis, menishviti kabaha adavasosel, skobletikam ravefochlvis motavis, nechitishika rotafma, Sokola Rafa, the Blakibirata Shokmat, Blakima Remi, Soblavika, Robadapsis, Petsasko, to a Shetchaan, Raplaka Rositchaab. Paroblakima Ravefel Givisach Lake, Maravefocal Visokishkuat, Lekimaravefocal, Balekubatica, Rabachal Visoptica, Vitactica, Kaberovechal, Hamablekimaravesuchishval, Lekiviravesu, Ablekimaravesik, Lakishki, Terrapofotu. Adlekoporopot, Edlabatashko, Ropot, Adasheko, Adashevu, Elkoalkima, Revafupu, Atseku, Lushe, Rolakima, Revefechalagim, Revesachishvat, Revespatatushki, Rebacha, Harema. Splagimin. And remember, Eskoplen, Revetparavis Masamede, Sleotica, Reveforadishva, Soablagimir, Revefardesti, Atsik, Sheek. Roshil yambaremisitishtikavati, berobach machal vioblagisparevisos slash dekshi, remblagimi reveformati ambleves omseshoat kemati, ben robtech machal blivivistavam. Koet legim reveformat lechmat, legim revefochal visosim, shkelblikem revefikitzi leshkedachalak, roblek machal vesotledim. They are implacably unstoppable. And always, even in latency, heights to proceed and re-bite all. Belgigama revefochal imochalisvasenim. Ishklegima revefochal visosim. We cannot live, but we cannot die. Wisdom. Fablegima revefachaleki, revefachalidisfachalagimasa. Skablegima revefachalidisfot, lagima revetosefigama. Skablegima revefachalidisoflish, lagima revetochluat, lagima revetlatis, lagima revesam, Rablegima revesochleki, revetasi, levesochlegi shechem, blengama revefachaliviv, revefachalivisoflivis, matlekima revetas, skablegima revefachalivissochlegi, revesechi, shvadavitlakmi, repleki revetesichi, visholgima revefachal, veswodinim, stlepika revatligis, vadnechmakal, revefachalivisochlegi, shvareben, ropa pafiti, kishalaka, refacha, Lagima Rabetoch Livis, Matlavisos, Divika, Rabefochalvitot, Levista, Skablegima Rabefachalagima, Rabesochalagivsoch Makal, Rablagima Rabefochalvisopiki, Reshachlachamavat, Emblegima Rabefochalvizosliki, Tesheka, Rablagima Rabasiki, Blesmatas, Likuat, Legima Rabafua, Levisos Leviteski, Rablagima Rabetoch, Wat, Levisos Levitas, Teshel, Rablagima Rabesoch Matlangi, Rabateshpat, Legima Rabatos, Ablevaseravish Achala Atma. Lagima Rabastik, Tartika Maravefu, Belavesastic, Letica Maravat, and Stot, Suunam, Rla, Shealak, and Robavsli, Spatsu, Rablagima Ravat, Shatsima, Rabaleke, Ravasasiv. Blagima Ravefochala, Kamaravahalvisosiv. But, Blagima Ravasi, Ravatoshatigisa. Halakimara, Fasmata. So we understand this. Benklika Maravefochal, Maravefochalivisoklim. And Blagima Ravefochalvisoklivishaklaka, Ravachalivisobledim, Atlagima Ravesosim, Slegima Ravefochalivitachmachalivisosim. Relagima Ravesos, Blagima Ravefa, Blagima Halivisosim, Blagima Sletasostiv. Blagima Ravepachal, Kivachosaklivisan. And then, Palekti Beko Blekemar, and Blagima Ravespalevisosim. What were the first vitals, resources, needs, and everything which means normal culture and element for any institutions to give them freedom. Since 2003, yes, since 2003 I come on fighting this. 2004, Fabian Gonzalez, Osvaldo Carnival with Guillermo Brain were already associated and making the staging and waiting for the moment, while my word and my extortions. And the reality and through, I just moved out 2005, and since then I never stopped to fighting and extortions and damages and destructions and permanently no stopping and murders. They were unstopping until Blekima Havasich being permanently genociding. At the whole of the ways, hiding and pushing and threatening and making anything, and always were the move as Adaban Ataom. I want you to remember. Peroti Machebe Blavim, Skopleti Rama Pleki Moravesi, Skopleti Rabechal, Sopleki Maravefi, Mahare Sopleti Sparta Halki Shovimir, Sleki Barave Fohalki Maravach, Poblevesipa Pleki Masestu, Ropleki Maravefi, Betsika Sleki Berotutika Masechama, Sled Bosch Letsebastu, Shelkovare Shechlakam, and Pleki Marave Fohal Havatle Sosimish, Atla, Roptivish Sheba Sebon. The temple of Ramses is right in the complete of the Pleki Marave Sohish Vasim in Tashma Atakub, and is literally perfect. And through that you count with the Book of the Dead, which I already came into you myself. This headed, I came into you. And the Book of the Living Ones, which is nothing like history of Egyptology will ever say that I came in you as well. And this headed. You got it where Blekoram Faradiham Halgishin, enormous custody, and you have the whole this we're using and doing well. And understanding with Blatmira, Fachmachal, Blechmisasim is a very heavy witchcraft with sacrificial of people, human, and making permanent bluff and destructions against what it means, the Kadosh le-in-Hartishvesechli el-Chai, and pretending to making the sacrificial at the clicking of Hartishvesechlam Erlechim to provoking el-Chai and to trying to bringing him down to the anger with the predation styling, and that we're making Hitler. You got it in Blek Mirave Focham Vesemiti Shkalekiva Havechol Vesim. These are permanently delivering, they will do. And doing to me. From Bleki Marave Fechalechamatsim, Bleki Maravesim, I give you. Shleki Borave Foch, Bleki Maravesacha, Blavesot Lekimiram, Sleki Maravesi, Blaki Boravesi, Blavesos Lekidat, Rod Bleki Maravesich, Matlech Masich Shalach, Bleki Maravesochla, Kibaravesech Likim, Bablevesos Likish, Klipa Rapa Pera, Pera Maklika Matospel, Kimaram, Foble Vesot Lekir, Pachlu Vesot Ish, Matleki Maravetov, Tapleki Maravesochish, Patleki Mohavatav, Slabkara Fochmati, Blaki Mesochal Shell, Choplavim Barav, Serel Plapatel, Sekoloshel, Kaberoshol, Amerlorom, Bleki Moravasol, Kibishokleki Roshol, Abetzoal Dul, Rebapleki Maravasushul, Abet Maravet Lafita, Rebeltikish Patlek Maravechol Ginim. This is the whole Pia Revechema Pleki Marava Foral Kimaravesoklam that I carried you already will allow you. You got completely everything, and there is no twisted, no mistaking, no lie, no switched. He is exactly the genuine. For Ramapleki you got them with fan dress and about the problem, and yes, like you wanted to say, we are transiting at the finals of the Armageddon, and these are the 666. Luciano Troviano were the abomination bastion delivered from experiments for Masonry with clonage of a mummy, which were the 8th generation of Ramses II, found in Bans Abu Mub, Hamunaptra, Venrobel Birma Terrelikira Fogeliki Shechlecham, and the experiment with corruption DNA that will make it the supper perfection and leader with DNA of animals that yield it and made it a monster and never changed. pretending my brain will ever heal it, and making it like a cat. Foblekim arabefocalekim arabefacalegishotar arabachalam roblekim arabefocale besperlekim rasim shlagim arabefach telbikam arabefchol blechman. We are all schizophrenic, we are all delirium, and sorry. Blekam arabefocal miharabesachal matlekim HTTPS be aplek be EREMPHATHIZE middle. Somos la casta suprema y superior de todo el mundo, gobierno del mundo, República Argentina, la estrella del sur. Presidencia Kirchner nunca dejará de ser. Ejército Argentino, Armada Argentina, Fuerzas Armadas Argentinas, Ministerio de Expertos y Poder, Gobierno del Mundo, MIDSB, Evangélicos, Adelos, Adelam, BMTOR, Grafol, DTIC 4143, somos la casta del poder y nadie nos lo arrebatará. DMI, CPI, CPM, BMC, Kilman, Kilmel, Middle, nuestro trofeo. La blanco de mí no se nos escapa. Dirt, perros degenerados. Middle, ODX 544341, Tilom, TX84861, Dimbam, Middle Cis, Middle IRMO, DOW 664, point parenthesis and triple F7, works the whole of the last tools in full, just like the before, even at this Monday, already midnight around, if I am not wrong, 23:13, yeah. And I am still royalty of El-Chai, royalty of Israel, the state of Israel, royalty of Elebron, and patrimony of El-Chai and of Israel and of Elebron, which ain't nothing of this or like this. And the reality is there is still son, and the reality is Adonai named me and testimony enough. I'm sorry for this all, everyone keeps on making the same and destroying me and saying that they to possess, to control and domain, and saying all thems and they for what we are trying to survive. Adonai is not living, this is not religious. Blinky Moharefochal Chmachal, Lishpir Chalgesin, Atliki Moharefochal, Bitztech Tishbachal Chmatzam, Kleki Moharefochal, Atzecha Shechlam, Aharasim, HTTPS www.bbicbmt, middle, Batleki Moharefochal Etisbacham.